In 2023 prelims, I couldn't clear the prelims. I gave the 2024 prelims, and this prelims also I couldn't clear to get an all India rank of 7. The highest this year, 138 in ethics. There is no point in getting stuck in the loop again and again like I was from June 2026. Then the first half will be from June 2026 till December 2026. Don't change. Stick to a source. Any source that suits you, any video or any faculty who's teaching you, who you feel most comfortable with, stick with them. So stick with that. I was constantly changing my sources. So this cost me, 2 attempts. The information that is needed to mark a correct answer in prelims, the information that is needed to talk in the personality test. So what are the non-negotiables that you should must do in this 2 years? Hi everyone, this is AR Rajah. I've secured an All India rank 7 in this year's CSE 2025. So I'm here to take a session on what is an ideal plan to follow for clearing the exam in 2028. So basically what I've come up with is a 2-year plan, a 2-year strategy that if followed, you can have high chances of clearing this exam in 2028 itself, right? So moving on, this is my mark sheet. I've gotten marks of 110 in essay, then 106 in GS1, 124 in GS2, 90 in GS3. Then I've gotten the highest this year, 138 in ethics. Then I've gotten a combined total of 266 in my optional, which was anthropology. Then in my personality test, I got 201 to a grand total of 1035, right? So let me tell you a brief about my journey, because now we will be seeing a 2-year strategy for you guys to clear it. So now let's look at what I followed, right? Because my journey was not a perfect one. It had a lot of mistakes, and the learnings from those mistakes is what I'll be giving it to you guys today, right? So my journey started in 2022, right? And then I prepared for 1 year, and then I gave the prelims in 2023, right? In 2023 prelims, I couldn't clear the prelims. Then I studied again for a year. I gave the 2024 prelims, and this prelims also I couldn't clear. So I failed continuously 2 prelims. Then in 2025, I was fortunate enough to clear the prelims. Then I went on to write the mains, which I cleared. Then the PT, which again I cleared to get an All India rank of 7. So basically, the point of this video is for you guys to skip these mistakes so that you need not pass through this kind of a journey where you fail 2 prelims. So I want all of you to clear your prelims and then also clear the entire thing in one go itself, because that is the main point of this. There is no point in getting stuck in the loop again and again like I was. So that is the main reason. So I gave 3 attempts, 2 prelims I failed, and then after clearing 1 prelims, I wrote the mains and personality test and I got AR 7. So in this session of 2 years strategy, you will be able to see what mistakes I made and what all corrections you have to make so that you don't make the same mistakes and you're able to clear it in one go itself. Fine, right? So now what is going to be the broad outline of your 2-year strategy? So now we are going to start from 2026. We are currently in 2026 and our target is CSE 2028, right? So our target is CSE 2028 and currently we have 2 years in our hands. These 2 years are going to be the most crucial time period for you guys, so that you can clear the exam in CSE 2028. Okay, so including this CSE 2028 examination year, this will be another 1 year of the exam itself, because you'll be writing your prelims, your mains, then the personality test of 2028. So together it will be a time period of 3 years, but we will be majorly now focusing on this 2 years, which is between 2026 and 2028, which is going to be the most crucial part for your selection, right? So now we have our 2 years in hand, from 2026 to 2027, then from 2027 to 2028. So what are we going to do in these 2 years? That now becomes important. The first year, your prime objective is to gain knowledge, is to gain, clarity on the exam, is to gain the information that is needed, the content that is needed to write in mains, the information that is needed to mark a correct answer in prelims, the information that is needed to talk in the personality test. So all this content, all this knowledge, you will be gaining in your first year. Then the second year, you will be practicing your execution part. See, everyone has knowledge, but only a few people are able to showcase that knowledge in the correct manner to the examiner, and that is how they're getting selected. So they are able to showcase their knowledge in the correct manner in the mains papers. That is why the examiner is giving them good marks other compared to another person. They both might have the same knowledge, but the way they present it, the way they execute it on the D-Day, that is much more important. And similarly, personality test, everyone who gives the personality test has the sufficient amount of knowledge because they've cleared mains, but still only a few handful of people clear the personality test. This is because the way they are executing it, the way they are giving out the projecting the information knowledge they have, that also becomes important. So in our second year, we'll be focusing on the practicing part or the execution part of it, right? So the first year is for knowledge gaining, which is from 2026 till 2027. Then 2027 till 2028, which is your exam here, will be your execution part, where you will be focusing much more on test series and what all we'll be doing. So we'll be looking at both these years in depth. Okay. Now coming to the first year. So the first year, we are going to be dividing it into two parts, because we cannot be putting a schedule for the entire year. What we have to be doing is we have to be dividing it into parts and then putting a schedule for it, right? So we are dividing the first year into two halves. So now we are in May. Let's say you're starting your cycle from June 2026. Then the first half will be from June 2026 till December 2026. Okay. And a note of caution here, this is something for absolute beginners, right? So this plan is for someone who is extremely new to UPSC. So this will work for them better, right? So now you are very new to UPSC. So what you will be doing in these formative years, formative months from June 2026 till December 2026 is read all the basic subjects of prelims from the basic textbooks that are prescribed, right? Now, what are the basic subjects of prelims? You will have your polity, you will have your economy, then your geography, then your history, which consists of your modern, ancient, medieval and art and culture. It consists of all that. Then your science and tech, then your environment, right? So you will be covering all these subjects, right? Now I've put in here two readings. So let's say someone is going for some class, some kind of coaching class, or they're watching some kind of videos on the internet. So going and sitting in a class and listening to the teacher, or watching a video and taking notes from it, this is considered as your first reading, right? So in this months between June 2026 till December 2026, you will be doing your first reading, which is basically listening to a class or watching a video on YouTube, or basically if some person is interested in self-study, studying the material themselves. So that will be covered in your first reading. But will you stop with just the first reading? No, you have to push yourself to also do a second reading, or in a way a kind of a revision. For example, let's say there is a chapter in polity called fundamental rights, right? And you have attended a class on fundamental rights, right? And you have made good notes based on the class. That will be your first reading. Okay, the second reading of it will be when you go back to your home and take out the fundamental rights chapter again in the basic book of Lakshmikant and read it. Then that becomes your second reading, right? So I want you guys to complete both your first reading and second reading in this formative months of June 2026 till December 2026, right? Then the most important thing, which is going to be your partner throughout this UPSC journey, is the optional paper. So after selecting an optional paper, what you should be doing is, in these months from June to December, you have to at least complete the classes of the optional paper 1, right? Or if you are someone who is studying on your own, complete the complete the syllabus of the optional paper 1 in this time period, right? So now coming back to the knowledge aspect that we will be gaining here from June to December, what all we will be doing? We will be reading twice all the basic subjects that are required for your prelims: polity, economy, geography, history, science and tech, and environment, and also the first optional paper. So we will be completing all these areas in this time period of June 2026 till December 2026, right? Now, if you ask me what sources to be followed, obviously sources will vary for each and every person, but there are standard sources which I have followed. I'll just be giving them to you. But in my opinion, in this journey of UPSC, anyone can follow any material that they wish to be followed. But the thing is, they have to stay true to the material throughout the 2 years of their preparation. They should not be constantly changing the source or the material from which they are studying. Some person will be saying some other new material tomorrow. Another topper will come and after 2 months, he'll be giving you another material. So don't keep shifting your material. Fix a particular material, then start your cycle from June 2026. And once you start your cycle from June 2026 till you complete your cycle in 2028, you should not be changing your source. So fix a source, take a week's time, fix your basic sources for all the prelim subjects and your optional paper 1, and then stick to it. Fine. Now coming to what sources I used. So for polity, I just used Lakshmikant plus the Bare Act. The Bare Act is nothing but your constitution taken in the printed format, right? Then for economy, I used a book called Shankar Ganesh Karupaya. Shankar Ganesh Karupaya. Fine. Then for geography, I just use my 11th and 12th NCERTs. Nothing more than that. Right? Then for history, for modern history, I used Spectrum. Then the new NCERTs, the new NCERTs of class 12, the themes NCERTs for ancient and medieval. Then for art and culture, again I use the NCERTs. So my history was covered from Spectrum and NCERTs of the 12th class and the art and culture NCERT of the 11th class. Then for science and tech, I didn't follow any particular source for science and tech, which was a mistake that I made. I was constantly changing the source for science and tech throughout my prep. This was a mistake that I told you that cost me the 2 prelims attempts. So don't change. Stick to a source. Any source that suits you, any video or any faculty who's teaching you, who you feel most comfortable with, stick with them and stick with the sources that they are giving you. So stick with that. I was constantly changing my sources. So this cost me, 2 attempts. So don't do that. So stick to a particular source. I ultimately, I stuck to one particular source of watching basic YouTube videos on the various concepts based on the PYQs that were there. Based on the PYQ themes that are repeating in science and tech, I watched basic YouTube videos. And since I have a background in medical science, since I'm a doctor, I had the biology part of science and tech covered. So many people won't be having that. So you follow a trusted source, a single source for science and tech. And for environment, again, any book in the market is good for environment, because environment is again a subject which is very vast. There is no boundary to it. Science and tech and environment are subjects like that, which don't have any boundary to it. That is why I'm saying choose any source that is helpful for you and then stick to it. I again shifted between 2-3 sources for environment. So, and that was again a weakness for me. So stick to one particular source for these two things. So what will you be doing between June 2026 and December 2026 is complete all these books that I've given you now. Complete all these books, and along with the books, after the first reading of it, also complete the second reading of them. Okay. Then alongside doing this, you will also be completing the syllabus of your optional paper 1, right? Then a question arises. Should I just, content myself with just reading the sources? Is that enough? No, that is not at all enough, right? Because even though the practicing part, the execution part, we'll be doing it in our second year much more intensively, but still the practicing part should start. You should get yourself acquainted with the execution part or the practicing part from the first year itself. That is why I've given these 3 things here, right? So first, get yourselves acquainted with the PYQs, right? How to get yourselves acquainted with the PYQs? Should it be the prelims PYQs or the mains PYQs? First, let's take the example of polity itself. You have done the fundamental rights chapter, you have done your first reading, you have done your second reading. Now what you have to do is take any good PYQ compilation of prelims and see what questions have been asked, particularly from the fundamental rights chapter. So take the PYQs of prelims of the basic subject that you have studied twice and then try to solve them. You can make mistakes. It doesn't matter because you have just studied them for twice. People who have been studying Lakshmikant for 5 times, 6 times still make mistakes. So it doesn't matter. Study Lakshmikant twice, study a chapter for 2 times. Let's say you're studying the fundamental rights chapter or the DPSP chapter in Lakshmikant for 2 times. Then take out the PYQs of prelims that have been asked on fundamental rights and DPSP and try to solve them, right? This is something that you should be doing on a regular basis as and when you're completing the second reading, right? Then what about mains? PYQs of mains. See, mains has 2 types of subjects. One type of subjects is the ones that I listed here, which were the prelim subjects. So the prelim subjects, they get repeated into mains. Polity is repeated, history is repeated, geography is repeated. But there are also another type of main subjects which are not present in the prelims. So that we won't be focusing at all from June 2026 till December 2026. These are subjects like governance, internal security, or international relations. These we won't be focusing now, right? So take out the PYQs of mains that are related to the subjects that you had studied for prelims. For example, your polity, your economy, then your history. So take out PYQs of mains from these subjects that you have read for prelims. Trust me, they will be very hard at the beginning because you have just studied from the perspective of prelims. Now you have to do it from the perspective of mains, the PYQs. So they will be a bit hard, but still try to figure out the answer for the PYQs of mains from the subjects that you have read, right? And then start acquainting yourself with answer writing. Now take these PYQs of mains, sit for half an hour and then write a 10 marker. Sit for half an hour and write a 15 marker. Try to start writing answers. Then compare your answer with a model answer. See how well it is matching it, right? It doesn't mean that you have to write a very perfect answer at the very get-go. No, it's not like that. So just start acquainting yourself with answer writing by doing the PYQs of mains of the prelim subjects that you studied for 2 times, right? Then newspaper reading. So I want you guys to start newspaper reading from the very day one itself. But what generally people ask is, how should I make notes of newspaper? So initially what I want you guys to know is that don't put yourself in that mental pressure that I have to make notes from the newspaper daily. Just relax a bit, because even I had that pressure when I started my journey in 2022 that I have to make notes of newspaper daily. Then the newspaper notes started becoming bulkier and I was not revising them. So don't put this mental pressure on yourself. Start doing it, like slowly. Then what you have to do is just read the newspaper. Just read the newspaper, right? Just flip through the pages, read the articles. You will start noticing that what all is coming in the headlines will after 2-3 days come in the editorial. Then it will come after 2-3 more days in the text and context of the Hindu. So all these things happens. So just take a note of it. Just take a look at the issues that are happening around you. Don't actively try to connect them with the exam, right? If possible, try to passively connect them with the stuff that you are studying. If there is a news related to the governor, try to connect it with the governor chapter that you have read in Lakshmikant. So do these kind of passive things, but don't try to do them actively, but stick to regular newspaper reading from June 2026 till December 2026, right? So just to recap what you will be doing in the first half of the first year, you will be reading the basic subjects of prelims, then the optional paper 1, and both these things you will be doing 2 readings of them, okay? Then you will be getting yourself acquainted with the PYQs and acquainting yourself with the answer writing, and also acquainting yourself with the newspaper reading. Don't do this very intensively. Do all these 3 things passively, but focus much more on completing the subjects. Focus more on completing the books that I have written here. Complete them first and revise them once, and also try to complete the optional paper. So this will be your main aim till December 2026. Right. Now coming to the second half. Coming to the second half of the first year. So now this starts from Jan 2027 till May 2027, right? So in this, I want you guys to take the first 3 months, which is basically Jan, Feb and March. Now, you have read the prelim subjects at least twice, right? And you have read and done with your optional subject 1. Now it is time to take up your main specific subjects. I will list out the main specific subjects for you. In GS1, it is your society, right? In GS2, it is your governance and social justice plus your international relations. In GS3, it is your agriculture, internal security, disaster management, right? So these 3 comes in your GS3. Then one entire paper is still left, which is your GS4, which is your ethics, right? So what I want you guys to do is do the first reading and second reading, which is basically first reading is maybe watching a class or doing self-study. That is your first reading, and second reading is revising it once again. So do this for all these 6 subjects that I have given here. Sorry, 7 subjects, and any other subjects that I might have left out which comes particularly for mains. All these 7 subjects, you have to complete these 2 readings in these 3 months, right? 3 months is enough to do this because the content of these 7 subjects will be comparatively less compared to your heavyweight prelims, all the subjects of the prelims, right? So complete at least, you know, 2 readings of all these things in these 3 months. World history will also be added here. World history will also be added, right? So while doing this, start getting yourself ready with GS4 as well, right? So this GS4 should be an overarching theme from Jan 2027 till May 2027. Overarching theme means that every day something of GS4 should be done. Because why I'm asking you guys to focus on GS4 is because I focus a lot on GS4 across my 3 attempts. That is why I was able to get the high score of 138. GS4 is a subject where in which if you put in a lot of efforts, it gives you a lot of rewards as well. And GS4 is also something which is not very technical. It is something about ethics. It is something which comes very natural to us. Being ethical is something which should come natural to you as a civil servant. So you should be focusing on ethics across this entire timeline. So maybe 1 month, just look at the syllabus, get yourself acquainted with the various definitions of the syllabus, take a good source material for ethics, start reading it, start marking out the various things, then take the PYQs of ethics, start correlating the PYQs with the material that you have read. Start doing this slowly from Jan 2027 till May 2027, right? This is your ethics. Then since we have completed optional paper 1, then you will also be doing your optional paper 2 here, right? From Jan till May, and then get it done with, right? Now, coming to PYQ acquaintance and answer writing acquaintance, again the same thing. Now, all these subjects, main subjects, ethics, optional paper 2, all these are mains related subjects. So, they will just be having your mains PYQs. So, as and when you're completing a subject, let's say you're completing society. So, don't immediately start making notes or start writing tests. Don't do that. Start by looking at the PYQs that are being asked. Let's say you have done 1 reading of society and you have done a revision of it and you have completed your 2 readings of society. Immediately don't start making notes from the source material. Don't do that. Instead, take a look at the PYQs that have been asked from society. See whether the stuff that is asked in the PYQs, is it covered in the source material. If it is not covered, then make some more notes on top of the source material itself by Googling or by using AI for the PYQ that has been asked. So get yourselves acquainted with the PYQs that are being asked in the mains related subjects, right? Then slowly start answer writing here as well, because now you have answer writing practice for the prelims based subjects which are being asked in mains like history, polity and geography. Now start answer writing for other mains subjects like society, governance, social justice, IR, all these things, right? So answer writing means not intensely sitting and writing half-length tests or full-length tests. No, take 2 answers per day, 3 answers per day, or 5 answers per day. Start writing them. Start putting pen on paper, because the hardest thing to do is trying to put pen on paper or trying to put your thoughts onto paper. So it takes time to happen. So start writing it, right? Then your newspaper reading will be continuing, right? Now what I want you guys to do is, as May 2027 nears, right? You're completing all these main subjects in March itself, right? So what will you be doing in April and May? So this becomes a question. So in April and May 2027, the people who are giving the 2027 attempt, they will be attempting the prelims, sectional tests and full length tests, right? So what I want you guys to do is, because you will be completing your main subjects first and second reading by March end, and you will just be left with ethics and optional paper 2. So continue with ethics and optional paper 2, and in the time slot that you had put for main subjects, first and second reading, because now you're done with them, start giving some sectional tests and full length tests of 2027. Even though we are not going to be giving the prelims of 2027, try to write the sectional tests, because you have already done 2 readings of polity there, right? And you have already done 2 readings of economy, 2 readings of geography, all the prelims related stuff you have done it. So try to write sectional tests. Even though you're scoring less marks, let it be, because it's been a lot of time since you have revised. It's been 3 months, Jan, Feb, March, since you have last touched polity. So you will be making mistakes. If whenever you're making mistakes, take a look back at the fundamental rights chapter or the DPSP chapter in which you're making mistakes, and try to give some full length tests as well during this time, so that you get into that mode of prelims. Because now, even though we are not going to be giving 27, we will be now starting the intense year, second year for 28. So to get into that mood of intense practicing, just give these sectional tests and full length tests for 2027 along with the people giving prelims 2027. But just go with the pressure, because everyone will be studying in these 2 months for 2027. You will be the only person who is waiting for 2028. So just go with the flow and go with the pressure and try to give these sectional tests and full length tests. Trust me, it will help you very well when you go to your actual attempt in 28. Fine. Now, what objectives have we achieved in our first year? First thing is that your basic prelims subjects is completed twice. The basic prelim subjects is completed twice, along with some half-length tests, sectional tests, plus some full-length tests. Right? You have done this. Then what you have done? You have read the main subjects twice. You have read your optional twice. So here twice means once looking at the class and once revising it yourself, right? Then you have started your newspaper reading. Then you have started PYQ analyzing. You have started solving PYQs, writing PYQs, and you have initiated answer writing. Right? And then ethics, obviously. By now, from Jan till May, you would have done ethics. So by now, you would have done 2 readings of this as well, and written some PYQs of this as well. Right? By me saying you have done PYQs, I'm not saying all the PYQs of prelims and all the PYQs of mains. No, you have done some amounts of them, and then and by doing mains PYQs, you have also started some amounts of answer writing. Right? So this is the thing. So these are the objectives that you have achieved in your first year. So now you have sufficient amount of knowledge in your hand. Now we will be going into the year of execution, right? This is where your execution part is going to start. How you are going to write an answer. See, prelims is just a entry ticket. Prelims, if you clear prelims, what will happen? You will just be given a chance to write mains. Even if you get 200 out of 200 in prelims, it is of no use if you're not clearing mains. So the actual game is in the execution part, which is the mains answer writing part. So now we are going to start intensive answer writing in your second year. So your second year, the first half, it starts from June 2027 till December 2027, right? So now here, mind this, you have not done any note making, right? Any note making for prelims as well as for mains in your first year. What you have done is you have read the source material once and you have revised it once. That is it. Don't make notes in that time period, because you won't be knowing how to make notes and you will start making bulky notes which you won't be able to revise. So don't make notes in your first year. Now what you have to start doing is start writing mains test series, right? Now is something different that I would suggest to people is, generally what people do in this time period is write just one test series of 2028 attempt. for the 2028 attempt, they will just take one test series and write it in this time period. But what I would suggest to you guys, and what I did as well, is to write 2 test series. Why? Because you have already the knowledge. You already have the knowledge that you have acquired in the first year. So now it is all about writing tests this year, right? And making notes. So what you have to do is try to push yourself and write 2 test series. In fact, me, in my third attempt, which is basically post my second prelims failure between 2024 June and December 2024, before my 2025 attempt, which I got R7, I wrote 3 test series. I wrote intense answer writing, right? But I don't want you to push too much as well, because that is also not a healthy way. So doing 2 test series is well and good, right? So I want you guys to complete 2 test series. And what should a test series contain of? One test series should contain at least 4 sectional tests or half-length tests in each paper. 1 GS1, GS2, GS3, GS4, and then 2 FLTs of each paper, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Similarly for your optional as well. For the optional as well, I understand that it won't be optimal to do 2 test series for optional. Complete 1 test series for optional. So in this time period of June 2027 till December 2027, you will be solely focusing on the execution part. So you will be writing 2 test series for your GS, which contains, each test series contains at least 4 sectional tests for each paper and 2 full-length tests for each paper. So that you will be writing 4 FLTs for each paper. Imagine the kind of answer writing you will be doing in this time, right? Then for optional, just do 1 test series in this time period between June 2027 till December 2027. So what happens now is that even though your answer writing might be bad at the starting, you won't be able to complete the papers on time. But still, by the end, trust me, from June, even if you're writing and not able to complete your papers in June 2027, by the time you reach December 2027, before New Year, you will be able to write very good answers. Similar answers to people who are toppers or people who have written mains before, because you have what you have done. You have done intense answer writing practice, right? Then what you should be doing is you should start your mains notes making. Now that you have started writing tests and you have started analyzing your mains PYQs, you know what the examiner wants from you. While writing a mains answer in a mains test series, you will know that in some parts content is lacking, and in some parts the content is given more in the source material. So you will be able to judge which should I cut out and which is needed for my notes, and then you should start making notes in this point of June 2027 to December 2027, right? So let me tell you a basic scenario that might happen. Let's say you have a sectional test on society. So let's say you have given 4 days to study for it. In those 4 days, you have already read society twice. So you will take back that notes, read it once again, then you will start noting down the important points that are needed to write that test coming 2 days later or 3 days later. Then you write the test. After writing the test, you will realize that, okay, I need to add some more points to my notes. Then you start adding points to the notes. Then you look at the PYQs. You look at the mains PYQs. You look at some stuff which is given new there. So that content should again be added to your notes. So how will you do your mains notes making is by centering them around PYQs, make PYQ oriented notes and also notes based on the answers that you are writing in the test series. So let's say your content is lacking in an answer written in the test series, then that lacking content will be put in your notes. So this is how you will be doing it, right? Then should I now, from June 2027 to December 2027, should I leave prelims because I'm doing all the mains part? Should I leave prelims? No. At least take 1 hour or 1.5 hours every alternative day between June 27 to December 27 and start doing your prelims PYQ analysis. Start doing your prelims PYQ analysis. This is very, very important, and this is the single thing which is going to help you clear your 28 prelims, right? So start doing your prelims PYQ analysis. in this time frame from June 27 till December 27. So how will I do PYQ analysis, and how is this different from the PYQs that I did there? So in your first year, you just used to take a PYQ and just solve it and leave it and go. That is all you used to do. But now you will be analyzing a PYQ. Analyzing in the sense that, let's say an option is correct, then look at the other 3 options. They might be answers in future questions, asked in future exams. Then start connecting one question asked in 1 year to another question asked in another year. For example, they have asked an important personality, Krishna Deva Raya, in 2024. Then in 2025, they've asked an important personality, Narasimha Varma of Pallavas. So they are focusing on important personalities every year. So that is a theme. Then charter acts as a theme. They were asking repeatedly every year. So these kind of themes. Then rivers, mapping of rivers. This again is an important theme. It gets repeated every year. So this is the way you will be doing analysis in this month. Not just solving the answers of prelims PYQs, but also actively connecting PYQs of this year and the next year. And actively also looking at the wrong options and actively going a bit more in depth into each prelims question. So this you will be doing. Now coming to the note making from newspapers. So in your first year of knowledge gaining, you have just read the newspapers generally, right? You have not made any notes from them. You have not thought how to connect them to the exam actively. So now in this time period, what you have to start doing is actively look for stuff in the newspaper that can be used in your mains test series. Actively stuff that can be used in your examples or quotes that can be, or data points that can be used in your mains tests. For example, there is a good example of some good, civil servant doing something good for the country. So if it comes in the newspaper, that will be a good example for ethics. Then you can start making it, okay, making a note of it. So do the note making from the newspapers only from the perspective of mains. Do not make prelim specific newspaper notes. That will be very bulky and it won't be coming into use at all to you. So just do main specific note making from the newspapers, and that too, don't make notes of big issues. Take small tidbits, small case studies, small examples, small data that can be used, all these things. But let's say even if you're skipping note making from newspapers, that is also fine, but still read the newspaper daily. Get yourself acquainted with what all issues is happening around you. Trust me, even if you're not making a note of it somewhere, still the mere knowledge of having read something somewhere in the newspaper, it will come to help you while writing an answer. It will come to help you even if you have not noted it down separately somewhere. So at least read the newspapers, and if possible, try jotting down points and make the notes main specific. GS1 newspaper notes, GS2, GS3, GS4, and even you can put the subheadings. Society, GS1 society ka notes, newspaper notes, GS2 international relations ka newspaper notes. Like this, you can make separate subheadings and also do it, right? So start making notes from the newspaper in these months, right? Then you come to your second half of your second year, which very important, is only for prelims, right? Because ultimately prelims has become a subject which is very dicey these days, because prelims is a paper that is very dicey, and what happens is even people who have given interview in the previous attempt, they are not able to clear prelims in the next attempt. So the due importance of prelims, the due importance should be given to prelims. So that is why we are segregating this entire chunk of the second half from Jan 2028 till May 2028, which will be your exam date, particularly for prelims alone, right? So this is it. And here everything prelims exclusive should be done. You will be revising all the prelim specific static subjects and doing your PYQ analysis that you did in the first half of the second year. Here now it will become intensified here. You will be doing PYQs almost every day. Every day you should be looking at it, looking at PYQs, analyzing it. If you look at a PYQ repeatedly, you will look at it in a different light as well. I will discuss about how to focus on PYQ analysis in another video for prelims, right? Then current affairs for prelim specific topics, this can be done from any magazine that you have done, but don't stop newspaper reading. Even if let's say prelims exam is tomorrow, still go through the newspaper once, because newspaper should become an habit by your second year ka end. That is my aim. From the beginning of the first year till the second year ka end, it should have become an habit for you, right? So current affairs for prelim specific topics can be done from any compilation. See, why I didn't want you to take notes for prelims from newspapers is because it will become very bulky and very difficult to revise. Making notes is of no use until and unless you can revise it repeatedly. So now you're not, since it is not possible to revise bulky notes repeatedly, it is fine to go with compilations for prelims specific current affairs, right? For mains current affairs, again, compilations are available, but we have also made notes. If you look at it in the first half of the second year, we have made sufficient amount of examples and data from the newspaper. That is enough for your current affairs for mains, right? And obviously the sectional tests and FLTs, which you wrote for your 27 prelims, along with the people writing 27 prelims, you would have written some sectional tests and full length tests, right? Now you will be doing all of them for your own prelims of 2028, right? A prelim specific video we'll take later. This is just to show the overall schedule that you will be following for the next 2 years. Fine. Now, what objectives have you achieved in second year? Intensive answer writing practice. Very intensive answer writing practice, because you have written 2 test series for GS plus 1 test series for your optional, right? Then what have you done? You have made mains specific notes, which is useful for your faster revision post clearing your 2028 prelims. For quicker revision, you will be taking these notes, right? See, these notes can be made from variety of sources. The test series ka model answers, that can also be a source for this notes. Then the actual study material that you are using, that can also be a source for this notes. Google can be a source, AI can be a source. Why I'm asking you to make notes in the second year is because only when you start writing answers will you know how to make notes. So start writing answers, and that is how you will make notes as well. Fine. Then main specific notes we have written. Then third thing is you have made mains CA notes from newspaper. These 3 objectives we have achieved, and from Jan till May, obviously you will be prelims ready to clear prelims. So once you will be prelims ready because of the efforts that you are putting between Jan till May. Jan 2028 till May 2028, you put all the efforts, you are prelims ready and you clear prelims. Then for mains 2028, you have all this backup supporting you. You have your notes ready, you have your current affairs notes from the newspaper ready, then you have written extensive answer writing practice, right? Fine. Now, there is some overarching objectives that should happen across these 2 years. So these are the micro things that we have seen, but overarching thing that should happen across these 2 years is current affairs ka newspaper reading. So newspaper reading should be done across these 2 years, irrespective of you making notes, not making notes, it doesn't matter, but at least read the newspaper for these 2 years. That at least should be done, right? Note making, I told you to do it in the first half of the second year for mains, right? If you're not doing that also, it's fine, but at least read it, right? Do not ignore answer writing. I've asked you to write so many test series, but let's say you're not writing those test series, but still keep yourself acquainted with answer writing across all the sections of the year, except the last section of second year, which is particularly for prelims. Apart from that, in the other, across the first year fully and the first half of the second year, which is intensive answer writing, should be done. All this 1.5 years, answer writing should be done very intensively, right? First year, it can be a bit relaxed because you're just beginning, but the first of second year should be very intensive. Now come to essay writing and personality test. How I should be doing essay and personality test across these 2 years. First, let me get done with personality test. See, basically what I have seen and experienced is that people, once they clear mains, they start looking for a hobby. They start looking for a new hobby that they can, project so that it looks very interesting to the interviewer. So that should not be the case. You develop a hobby for yourself in this 2 years. Let's say you don't have a hobby. That is fine. I had a hobby right from my school days, which is playing Carnatic music. So I had that hobby. Let's say you don't have a hobby. That is totally fine, because obviously each one of us would have had our own difficulties. So let's say you don't have a hobby. Try to build up a hobby for your personality test in these 2 years, because this cannot happen overnight. So try to do it in these 2 years, and also try to build your personality as well. Try speaking in public. Try talking to your friends in, about social issues, not just gossiping with them. Try talking about social issues, discussing about the current affairs that is there in the news, actively thinking of solutions like an IAS officer. Start doing all these things across these 2 years. That will help you in personality tests immensely once you clear your mains 2028. Now come to essay writing. See, now you're new to essay writing. You're an absolute beginner. What I want you to do is, for the first 1 year, I want you to maintain a journal. Maintain a journal. Let's say whatever your medium of writing mains would be. Let's say your medium is Hindi. Then have a Hindi journal. Let's say your medium is Tamil. Have a Tamil journal. Let's say your medium is English. Then it is much more important to have a journal, because English, we are not native speakers of English. So English is a foreign language to us. So to get acquainted with that language, start maintaining a journal. So what is a journal basically? So in that first 1 year, what you have to do is, well, every day, once you complete your day's work, take out the journal, write your thoughts in that journal, whatever you felt that day. Let's say you did not have a productive day. So write about it. Let's say you had a very disappointing day. Write about it. Let's say you had a very happy day. One of your friends cleared some other exam. Then write about the joy that you felt. Try to bring out the emotions that you're feeling onto paper. So this is basically putting your thoughts onto paper, because this is what we are doing in essay. What is essay? Essay is all about putting your thoughts onto paper. So this is what we are doing in essay as well. So the same thing you'll be doing while maintaining a journal in your first year, so that you immediately don't jump into writing a full 10-page essay. You slowly start by maintaining a journal, writing about your life, writing about what happens with your friends, what is happening in your life, what is happening in your family, and then slowly move on to other subjects. Now for essay particularly, when should I start? Start in your second year again. So what you should be doing for essay particularly is, again, analyzing your PYQs and curating content according to the PYQs. So essay strategy as well, we'll look in a separate video, because that itself will take another video. So proper essay writing, start in your second year, and every week you should write at least 2 essays. Two essays per week in the first half of second year. First half of second year, at least write 2 essays every week. Start looking at PYQs, analyzing them, and creating content for them. And in the first year, maintain a journal where you write daily about what is happening in your life. This will help you immensely in writing this 2 essays per week in your second year. Fine. Okay, so now what happens in the examination year? You clear the prelims in May 2028. Then you write August 2028 your mains. What to do in this time period between pre and mains, again we will look at it in a separate video. Then you clear this as well. You clear prelims here. You clear your mains as well. Then in Feb, Jan or December 2028, Jan, Feb 2029, one day you have your personality test. And because you have a stable hobby, now, this also you will clear because you're able to be true to yourself. Clearing a PT with a good score is all about being true to yourself. You're not manufacturing a hobby. You genuinely love that hobby. You have been doing it for 2 years. So you will be putting it, and that genuinity is what they also expect. You will clear PT as well. And then in March 29, you will get the final results value where you touch wood, you clear the entire process and you get done with it in one cycle. So this might look like a very simple one cycle where he is clearing prelims, mains and PT in one go. But the 2 years of efforts that we are putting starting from next month of 2026, that is what will result in clearing it in one cycle itself, right? So with this, I think, we'll be completing the video. What are the non-negotiables that, you should must do in this 2 years? Now that you have seen this video, you customize it according to your needs and make a plan for yourself and stay consistent with that plan. Do not change the plan in between across these 2 years. Now sit for a month, make a plan according to this, take this as a template, customize it for yourself, make a plan for yourself and stay consistent. Do not compromise on writing practice. That first half of second year is very, very important. From your 2027 prelims till from the day of May 2027, June 2027 till December 2027 is very crucial. Focus on answer writing practice during that time. Then always, when you're getting lost somewhere in mains or prelims, go back to your PYQs. Take your PYQs, see what they've asked in PYQs. That part becomes the most important part. Let's say they're asking continuously about monsoon in geography. Then that is the most important part of Indian geography. So this kind of PYQ oriented preparation you should be doing across these 2 years. Then your PYQ and your preparation should be more static based. Don't go behind a lot of magazines, current affairs magazines. Don't spend a lot of time on revising them. Instead, spend a lot of time on revising your static books. So these 4 non-negotiables should be there at the back of your mind while you navigate throughout your 2 years, right? So with this, we come to the end of this video. I hope this was a very informative video and you take this as a template for yourself to create your own 2-year timeline and then stick to it consistently so that you can clear the exam in CSE 2028, right? So I will meet you guys soon in another video as well with particular focus on prelims and mains. Thank you.